Georgia. Georgia, check in. That sweet song, Georgia. Georgia. Check in. Atlanta, Georgia. I was I at Old National Road, Camp Creek, was the street I stayed on in College Park. What up, Shorty? Favorite Shorty, you know what I'm talking about? But I didn't get on here to say too much. This conversation is not for those who are, non-Masonic or whatever. You know what I'm saying? This is to the Masonic brothers in that jurisdiction, whether you Scottish Rite, York Rite, you know what I'm saying, Prince Hall, or whatever have you, but we know that's the Scottish Rite jurisdiction. And we dealing with jurisdictional Masonic lines made from the Mason-Dixie line separates the North and the South. So I do have something to say. Again, we back to destroying landmarks. These landmarks are erected for the reasons to basically show you the point where the Mason-Dixon line separates the North and the South. And a lot of these monuments are war treaties between the North and the South, and good keeps that they would keep it up. And, each state or city or country would be responsible once these monuments are destroyed. For black people, we were never allowed to actually be a part of the building or the erection of most of these landmarks other than being a slave and pretty much building them as far as, backs of blood, sweat, and tears. But as far as the paperwork and ownership, unfortunately, through the South, we was not to be a part of that Masonic jurisdictional right until the Mason-Dixon line was established. Um, and again, that went into some other things. So I do want to say this: this conversation is not for the average individual who is not a Mason. Um, for when you damage these landmarks, what happens is it's like the Albert Pike statue. They never erect them until another time, but then you actually started a new page in history that has to be rewritten, like the Supreme Court rulings on landmarks decisions or landmark bills are also showing the signs that the history has been wiped away and it's about to be replaced with something else. And what that something else is what's very concerning to me. And I've been a Mason all my life. Obviously that's my fraternity, but my religion is Islam. I'm a Muslim. I've been to Hajj, Sunni Muslim at that. I've been to Hajj. I did my tawafs around the Kaaba or the Kaaba. Drunk from the water of the well of Zamzam, and stoned 3 shaitans in between Medina on the way, to the Prophet's mosque. So I'm very understandable about rituals, and then I am a 33rd Scottish Rite Mason, Freemason, and in a sense, we were looked at as clandestine members because they didn't let any black membership into their lodges or the Scottish Rite Lodge until 2013. So all up until the time I was, Prince Hall, I had to wait to actually get my, rights, my dues to pay to the Supreme Council of 33rds, in which me and my father and Freedom Lodge had the privilege of going to the Grand Lodge, not the Grand Lodge, I'm sorry, to the Supreme Council of 33rds there in D.C. So I do want to say something about when you destroy Masonic landmarks. That's who erected that, was the Masonic brother or brethren, and they did fine, good work, and they were all a part of making and erecting that as a landmark. And now it's destroyed. Regardless of what know about, how that power grid is what it was. It is a what you call a power grid because it sits on a circuit in a sense. And let me get you to understand how the pyramids work. Well, if you do your tawaf, so you do a circle around something, and you keep doing a circle, well, what's in the center of it, that energy is going to create a ball. Okay, so I see they shadowing your boy. I get it. They shadow me. I understand. Shadow, shadow, shadow. I get it. Yep, it will not get out. GBI will never. You know that a lot of these things on the Masonic level are going to obviously, be a part of whatever revolution that they are fighting to restore. Um, where do black people fit in on that? It particularly Prince Hall Masons. I just want to tell to everybody down there in Georgia to have a watchful eye of all landmarks at this present time that are Masonic. Because obviously people are destroying it based off of some sort of demonic reason on why they're doing it, but that's only because they're not brothers and sisters of the craft. So I don't know if y'all can hear me, but I'm gonna try to start this live again. They are pretty much shadowing this topic, and I get it. I would do it too because you got a lot of people who listen to other organizations who deem this organization devil worship and so on and so forth. And I've always stood on the front line and, protected the order when, Jay-Z and Rick Ross did a song called Freemason, and they were asked the question, or at least Rick Ross was he a Mason? He immediately, answered no. And this is way after I threw signs and wore, obviously my copper square, my letter G, my emblem on my hat. He knew my next questions was to rip out my hand and see if he had the grip. You know what I'm talking about? So when you passing, jurisdictional lines, Mason-Dixie lines, and you destroy monuments and landmarks of the good old South, as they call it, then that is means and grounds for some sort of revolution, or in a sense, or it could be very well civil war. Can't be civil because it's a new name that has to happen to even establish the new bylaws that have to be put up as they protect the Mason-Dixon line. So again, this conversation is only for the Masonic jurisprudents who understand that the laws that govern most of these cities are erected through the Masons. That's why you see the Rotary sign, the Eastern Star sign, the Masonic sign. When you go to every city and town through the South, and that is considered the Underground Railroad for a lot of people who are or who were slaves, and who feel like they are slaves now. So whenever you see the infighting occurring between the groups, it's very concerning where African Americans would stand in a battle of North and South, and obviously, we would have to renegotiate the terms of what we are to America, as African Americans. So it's not gonna be a coincidence that the civil rights will probably be thrown out by the Supreme Court ruling coming up as they call everybody equally Americans. And there would no longer be a title of Asian, African, or Hispanic Americans. You would just be an American. So you wouldn't need any grant programs and all these other different separate, monies. It would just be one pot to sort of fight over, and just like, religion and state all of a sudden married each other, which in some cases Roe versus Wade ran into a situation like that, as well as the state recognizing that you can pray and do whatever religious in their schools and whatever buildings that they have, because for some time you couldn't practice religion in schools, you couldn't practice religion in jail, or you couldn't practice religion in the courts, even though you swore in on a Bible. There's oaths that you take to make sure that these different swear-ins obviously come with perjury, which is punishable by jail and so on and so forth. But to get into the Georgia Guidestones, if y'all can hear me, and they're not shadowing me, but I'm not worried about the visual, I'm more worried about the message. You would do these circles around these stones, And up under the Georgia Guidestones, there's a magnetic stone. They call it a portal, whatever. But whenever you did a circle around it and you went to, I guess, the revolution of the Earth, which is, clockwise to the Earth's, axis in the spin, well, whatever object on top of that, those stones would obviously levitate. And you take in mind the same ideology from the pyramids. It has four corners on a pyramid at the bottom. So, and a monument, not only a monument was destroyed, but this is a power conductor. This is an actual electromagnetic field that that area had created once the circles of people going around it and around it, whatever was in the middle obviously took shape and form. So some people say, oh, that's Satan and all this and that. No, that's science. That's how the earth creates things in space. That's how everything goes in a circle. And whatever's in the center of that circle is the creation of that circle going around it. So that's how electromagnetic energy is when it's in revolution. And that's why they speak of a revolution. Now, if you reverse that revolution, then you will obviously take apart whatever that has formed in the center. So now you blew up a power source, and there's an electromagnetic field that's now in that area that's not controlled by the center anymore. So what does that mean? Okay, well, energy begets energy. You got a lot of energy for since 1980. A lot of rituals went on there. A lot of science went on there. A lot of people's, came and visited, went on there. So the electromagnetic field in that area is at its highest. That's why they had it in the middle of the field. Well, some people say, oh, well, you might have awoken God, or you might have awoken Satan. You might have awoken whatever that was created from all that energy, whoever showed up doing circles for since 1980 up until now. They have took off the stalls or took them away. So what is under there is what you should be worried about, not the actual stalls themselves. It has served its purpose by feeding electromagnetic current from the surface into the ground of whatever that was under there. So to give you an idea of basically whatever comes out of that ground and whatever is under there, it could be a stone, it could be a person, I don't know. And it's not no conspiracy, because under the pyramids are the pharaohs that are deeply put up under these conductors in the ground with gold on them. So as even as they were in another realm or passed away, they wasn't dead because the electricity stayed there. The electromagnetic people still did their tawafs, their circles around these pyramids. So in the same way around the Kaaba, there's several things, I'm not going to get into that, that's in the Kaaba itself that you and I'll probably never see. But there's an actual opening in the Kaaba in Mecca. So when you do circles around something, the electromagnetic field of human electricity is transformed in that center, if you follow me. So whether or not y'all hear me, I'm going to shut up. On that note, that's what was damaged on the 6th. Okay, so pay attention if you are a Mason about, these monuments erected by the order or erected by people who are subdivisions of the order, left, obviously, uh, uh, a portal in a sense, and that's what that would be. And that's why they said that is a portal, because the electromagnetic current forms a hole, almost like the underground black and white matter machine that clashes, the both white and black matter trying to create the Earth's physical, energy. So you would have to look up everything I'm telling you to understand the Freemasonic thinking and the ideology of esoteric knowledge, and it all derived out of Egypt. And it's not to say that white or black can control a white or black energy. That energy has no color on it. It's the energy of a black hole in space, of a white light that shines in the sun. So that is something that is not controllable by man, but we are a part of, and the radiation of that is in our souls. So what I'm saying to you is this: going forward, you have to allow these monuments to exist no matter what. Just because you have a, you know, belief doesn't mean that you can destroy a person, destroy a monument, destroy the thought, because the thought will always live on, and the knowledge will always be. What you will become is either a terrorist if you do something like that. You'll become an outcast, and obviously when they find out who you are, they're gonna obviously investigate your whole family all the way up until probably until you pass away, or be given your jail time or whatever have you. So uh from the Albert Pike statue to now the Georgia Gold Guidestones, and God knows whatever else, even the attack on the Capitol building, which is all Masonic. And I can understand after the tearing down the Albert Pike statue if the Trumpsters decided to attack the Capitol building because they are part of the Confederate order, or the, in the South. But that's not what Trump put out there, and he's probably not going to put out there if that is the case. So we are in the form of a civil war, if you know what I mean. So I'm just letting y'all know, you attack the monuments, you tearing down war statues, you basically opening up that box again of Pandora, as they call it, that unhidden secrets of energy that's about to come on the surface in the last days. And these are things coming from underground up to the surface, from the caves up under your feet. Because there's no more electromagnetic current holding them down anymore. And the earthquakes are obviously going to open up holes in the ground and allow these different whatever's to come out. I don't believe in no UFOs. I do believe there's subterranean creation up under the earth itself. I will say that. So everything must serve a purpose. So as much as you destroying history, you're allowing society to now come back and put a new form and erect a new thought, from the old to the new. So I guess everything is transferable at this point as it pertains to these landmarks. So again, sorry to hear about that in Georgia. Obviously, a lot of people feel like, hey, it's a demonic force or place where it happened, and I just told you what it was. It was basically a conductor, the same as the pyramids are. It's a powerhouse. Whatever's buried up under there was receiving the energy from people doing circles or visiting or rituals there over that person, or over that stone, or over that whatever that is up under those stones. And we don't even know what was buried under there. And that's the crazy part. So probably the organization of brethren that buried whatever up under there knows. So that's what food for thought. You destroyed the top, but you definitely didn't penetrate that ground, because that's what you should be worried about. What's under the Georgia Guidestones? It's your boy Mason Knight 333, travel light to the east, and a very very sad time in Georgia as we watch history erased, and to never come back. Obviously demolished all the way. All four stones are gone completely, and I don't know how long, forever. But from my understanding, that company is not even in business anymore. And the person that possibly, erected that and paid for that, you know, to be built is no longer alive. So ain't no telling what kind of paperwork he did up to what point, and maybe the deeds ran out on that property and so on and so forth. But somebody felt the need to take it upon themselves to destroy a monument, a landmark. Very concerning going forward. So again, these are seals opening up, and I'm hearing Trump is involved somehow, some way, being implicated in this, and maybe it's an attack because of what happened at the Capitol building in D.C. But then I thought it would be even because the Albert Pike statue got snatched down, and then insurrection should make it even. But now another landmark makes it uneven. So actually, people have two to worry about now as it pertains to, right wing groups or whatever these other individuals are who are KKK members, Proud Boys. They might feel the need to now turn up the temperature. So we got to be very vigilant. If you're in the South, you know anybody, tell them now to watch out. And if you are a Mason and Eastern Star, you already know to have them emblems on the car. You already know to wear your emblems on the hat, to wear that seal. Because, you never know what dark road you're going to end up on in the middle of the night. And one of them good old boys pull you over. You understand me? You should not be in the dark. You should be well in the light, traveling that road, if you know what I mean. On the left hand side, all day, every day, if you in the South. So it's your boy Mason 933. So Motive B, y'all travel light and to the east. And get ready, I guess, to go to Jerusalem in a minute, because we're going to look for an exodus up out of here if it turns into some type of civil war. We have to make sure that we finish the prophecy in Egypt, and Egypt shall rise from the ashes. So I believe that, and we actually have to put the capstone on the pyramids and do our tawafs, or our circles around the pyramids, to reconduct that energy up under the ground on to the surface. And again, the pharaohs were put right up under the pyramids. So again, we don't know what's up under the Georgia Guidestones. All right, that's it. So run tell that. It's your boy Mason Knight 333, and that is a part of American science history. America is well put together and thought in the esoteric knowledge. I do not think why people feel like that they can destroy something on the surface and not check what's up under the ground. It's just so dumb. So you didn't really do nothing. You just kind of woke up with a sleeping giant that you don't really know how it's going to respond to what they just witnessed, unfortunately. So y'all hold on tight as we get closer to, what Illuminati and Masons are. Get ready. So Motor B. Peace.